From when we started to right now, you're up about 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'll have Glenn toss these pictures up like somewhere on the screen or whatever, because they're fucking crazy.
They are. Yeah.
It's when you and I were hanging out a few weeks ago, and I looked at them again, I was like, my God, dude, like this is it's just insanity. What's going on, guys? Andrew with Pride. Today we have Sydney, one of my very good friends, and someone that I trained for a while. And I don't know if I told you this. You are, I think, the only exception that I made for like someone who was a really good friend to me beforehand that I actually trained as well. Because I kind of have a rule against that, where it's like, oh, you don't want to mix like friendship and money, yada yada. And I actually even tried to connect you with like a bunch of other trainers. I think I sent you like 2 or 3 other people.
You did before I came to you.
Yeah,
and James finally was like, just go to Andrew. Like he's gonna do the best work with you and like this and that. And so that's how that worked out.
It's been so long since because it's been at least a year since we've worked together. Yeah.
A year almost exactly.
Yeah. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. So I mean, when you first hit me up, everybody has like the generic like, oh, I have like these fitness goals and yada yada, but usually there's kind of like an underlying thing as well,
Yeah.
So like
totally.
For you, what were like the surface ones, and then what was it beneath that was like the real focus for you?
I mean, it was very obvious, but I was 97 pounds. Like I was nothing but skin and bone, and it was like I needed to do something about it, because if I wasn't happy with how I looked, then I wasn't gonna be happy past that. So I was like, I need to get into the gym, because I knew food was always a problem for me, but I think food was a problem because I was so sad. And there's like, when you're sad, it's just like you're not gonna take care of yourself type deal. So yeah, what made the most sense to me was coming to you and being like, let's get into the gym, and hoping that the other pieces would fall into place after that. And they did. I mean, it was a long progress. We trained for 2 years together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was definitely hard at first, but then once I started seeing progress, that's when it got easier. But like even now, I still struggle with it sometimes, of not so much getting into the gym, but like, hey, said you like need to eat more than one meal a day. So
and there's a little bit of like waves that kind of come with this stuff too, where it's I guess like the thing that I'll say that it seemed you really clearly got out of it was like developing an awareness about yourself, and that's at the end of the day the main thing that I want to make sure like every client of mine actually gets, is like having an understanding about like themselves and what they actually need. Because I remember getting a text from you where you were like, just realized I haven't been eating, like, and like just totally random, I hadn't like heard from you for a little bit, and you're like, oh, I like haven't been eating, I fucking caught myself again, and like, I'm back to it, here's everything that I've been eating, here's what I've been doing, like all these, and I'm like, fuck yes, because like everybody slips into it, like no matter who you are, no matter how like together your shit is, like there'll still be periods of time where you like kind of fuck off and fall off a little bit, and then it's more importantly it's having something tip that off for you and be like, oof.
Yeah.
Let's get this shit going again.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to like being present. It's hard to be present with yourself 24/7 unless you're being proactive about it. And so, I mean, something I've learned over the past 6 months is like I have to be proactive in being present with myself, or things in your life aren't gonna happen. And like, I'm moving to San Diego tomorrow. I never thought that I would ever leave Reno, and this would have never happened if I didn't commit 100% of myself to leaving, because it's easy to like leave in your mind, to like check out and not be present, but like when you really want to leave and be somewhere else physically, it takes 100% of you. So yeah,
definitely. Dude, that's fucking heavy.
It is.
Yeah, no, it's well, and especially because like you talked to me about that for a long time too. But I don't know, man. Like it just, I think at one point in time, like you finally said it, and I was like, oh, it's real. Like, it's actually gonna happen now. That's crazy. How much do you weigh now?
130.
130. Yeah. So from when we started to right now, you're up about 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And I'll have Glenn toss these pictures up, like, somewhere on the screen or whatever, because they're fucking crazy.
They are, yeah.
It's, when you and I were hanging out a few weeks ago and I looked at them again, I was like, my God, dude, like, this is, it's just insanity.
Mm-hmm.
What, so yeah, obviously you had, you know, Jamie talking to you and being like, hey, like, just go train with Andrew. Like,
yeah.
What was it that actually, like, stuck out about, like, me and, you know, what I do and everything that made you be like, this is where I want to go with this?
I feel like you catered to me. I wasn't just like another one of your clients. So I feel like, or I should say I see, especially on Instagram, people go to trainers because they produce a certain outcome, and that wasn't really my goal. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to understand my body in a better way, and I felt you understood that very well. And over the 2 years, and the way that we trained, it was very catered to my body. And like, I remember when we first started working out, I could barely hold a bar across my chest and squat it. Like, I almost passed out that one day.
Yeah, no, you're right. The very first time I ever had you front squat, we had to cut the session short. I totally, wow.
Yeah, and it was just, and even when you started with the
like all the assessments and stuff.
The assessments and stuff, like, we really found out what my problem was, because I had like a huge anxiety going into the gym, because I think, yes, it was mental of like, oh, you're taking control of your life, and I don't think my body was quite ready for that. But then just finding small things. I grew up dancing, and I have a lot of like weird problems in my lower back. Like, my hips developed differently because dancers favor the right or the left, and so you really took the time to take a step back so I had proper healthy growth in my goals.
Yeah.
So like with the booty gains and like just gaining weight overall, it was healthy. It wasn't overnight, and I think that's what
a lot of people think happens. But even like being able to like notice how you were progressing, and then seeing like, okay, well, how do we continue to change this as we progress through it, as opposed to just like, okay, well, we're just going to, you know, keep on moving forward.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, progress isn't linear. I remember one of the things that we learned a few months into us was, like the dancing and stuff like that, and realizing how hypermobile your hips and lower back actually were, and like realizing like, oh, like these weird little like mechanics and patterns that you're showing in a few of your movements. It's like, oh, this is, you know, we can trace this back to dancing. Like it was, so like being able to look at that, and it was just, you were someone that was so fun for me to work with, because you were probably one of the first people where it was just like, you and I had such a good rapport, like immediately, obviously, because we'd been friends for such a long time, that it was just like, okay, like, you know, this is something new that I'm learning right now, or this is something that I read, like, can we try this out? And you're like, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So it was like, it was cool, because it also was like a huge learning experience for me, being able to work with someone who just so like implicitly trusted me. Yeah, no, I trusted you 100%. I mean, I still do. You're one of like my best friends. Oh, dude, I can't believe you're leaving. It doesn't really matter though. Like, I'll see you again. I know. Yeah. Well, plus, it's like I said, like, it's gonna be funny because we're probably gonna end up FaceTiming each other more and stuff like that. Like now that you're like not 5 minutes down the street, but like we're gonna end up talking more for some reason. I'm gonna be at the gym in San Diego. Like, can't you? Yeah. What the fuck do I do? I don't know anyone here. So. Dude, that's gonna be interesting. Getting to like develop that new like gym friendship and stuff with a bunch of people. It's terrifying because that's like one of the biggest reasons the gym was hard for me. It was not necessarily going and like getting myself active. It was the other people there. Yeah. You know, that like social anxiety of going to the gym. But that's like something you really helped me with, because you gave me the proper tools of
going into the gym, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do a proper lift because of you. So, like, that anxiety goes away. Like, I don't have to worry about someone being like, oh, what did she do? Like, it's all mental down.
Some guy's gonna find a way to, hey, could I give you a critique? Could I check out your squat? Okay.
No.
No, you cannot. Please go away.
Yeah.
What was one of the most unexpected benefits that you actually got out of working together?
I think, like, my relationship with food, I never thought that was gonna change. Like, now I wake up and I eat breakfast every morning, and if I don't eat breakfast, I'm like, I do not feel good. Like, I need something in my system. I never thought that I would be eating a healthy amount every single day, just because it was so deep rooted, and I was so used to just eating one meal a day and this and that. And after we stopped training together, that was one of my biggest worries, of falling back into that. And there were times where I would slack off because I was just out traveling or partying and doing this and that, and it's easy. But at the end of the day, like, I really want to take care of myself, and, like, I owe that all to you, because I would have.
I always say this to people because, like, I'll post, like, a really good client update or, like, progress picture of a client or something like that, and people will be like, oh my god, like, that's awesome, like you did such great work. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
I gave somebody a fucking roadmap. Like, I assessed someone well and figured out, like, the steps in between, but at the end of the day, like, the program doesn't matter if it doesn't actually get done. And I think that's what's such a big testament about, like, you and just how done you were with, like, where you were at and how willing you were to actually, like, progress and actually, like, move forward and take this next step into your life. And the gym's interesting because it doesn't lie to you, like, you will get out of the gym exactly what you put into it. And I guess what were some things that you noticed outside of it, like outside of health and fitness, that you really didn't expect to, like, have any kind of correlation to it?
Just, like, daily routine of things, like getting up at a normal time of the day instead of sleeping until, like, 10 or 12. But, like, I'm up at, like, 6:30 in the morning. It's like, I would have never expected my life to have so much routine and organization and structure, which I think was, like, one of the weirdest. I didn't think working out was going to help with it just bled over into my life in a very, like, beautiful way, that it was just, I don't know.
You ended up being one of those people too, where it was like you saw such great progress and everything that it was like a lot of people ended up hitting me up too. And for a little while there, like, I was straight up, like, the glute guy. That was, like, all people were hitting me up for a minute there, and it was like, it was really fun because I started to develop a really good understanding of, like, how hips and glutes actually function.
The lower body.
Yeah, exactly. I started getting this really good understanding of it, but actually, I don't even have a butt for that. No pun intended. I don't have a butt. But, like, it was just one of those things that was such a... I never expected that to be a thing that I was doing, was, like, specifically just, like, sculpting people's lower bodies,
Yeah.
You had something really interesting... Well, not interesting. You had something really heavy happen in your life. And I believe it happened before you and I started training.
Yeah.
Like, maybe a year before.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole reason I came to train. That's why I lost the weight, was when I lost my dad, was because it was unexpected, and no one knows how to handle death. Like, grieving is a fucking bitch, to say the least, and there is no correct roadmap to grieving, and 3 years later, I'm just now starting to grieve, because at the time I put everyone ahead of myself, and that's why I fell off on me, and why you saw, like, the weight loss and, like, the mental health really decline. And so now I sit here 3 years later, I think I'm healthy and have, like, a good understanding of myself, and I'm able to look back on losing my father and appreciate him for who he was, and not be like, I'm always going to be sad. You're never not going to be sad over someone that you lose, but just being able to see it in a different light is really important. Like, this is our one life that we have, and with everyone that you have in this life, like, love them. And hold them close, even if there are so many people I can say that, I don't want to say hate, it's a strong word, but still at the end of the day, just be appreciative that they were in your life and go forward from there. Because, I mean, that was the biggest thing, and something I still deal with is, like, not appreciating the moments I had with them.
Oh, that was good.
It's tough, man. Like, it's, you know, I'm very, very lucky to have never lost a major family member. You know, I've experienced stuff similar to that, but it was seeing how that actually affected you and everything, both like physically and mentally, was, it was fucking heavy, man. Because you and I had, I mean, we probably started getting close like only a few months, maybe a year before that, right?
Yeah, I would say a few months.
Yeah. Like, it was not too terrible, because it was like you started dating one of my friends and then we started hanging out and everything.
Yeah. And we knew each other a little bit before that because of social media.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, like, it just pieces.
What was your first impression of me, since because we knew each other through like social media and shit like that? So
Well, one of our first times when we hung out before I was dating James was we went to Lighthouse and just cried each other. We cried our eyes out reading each other poetry.
So we actually, man, what a fucking bookend for our friendship. How did we find out that each other both wrote poetry?
Twitter.
It was okay.
Because that was my whole Twitter basis, was like posting my poetry and my nudes.
That's right.
It's so like,
man,
let's get together and read poetry.
Well, and I think it was because you were talking to one of my friends. I wanted to like get to know you better, because I'm like, who the fuck is this chick? Like, because all I have is this idea of this is, you know, some girl on Twitter or whatever.
Happiness, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, who the fuck is this shit? And then you and I ended up, it was like legit. We just read poetry to each other and like
sobbing.
Yeah, fucking crying at this coffee shop together. And like I think that was our second actual in-person time or meeting, because the first time was Jamie and I were working out together. And
that's right, at Body Fuel.
And you and Kendall came over and you were like, my hip hurts, and I'm like, and like did something on it. I'm like, is that better? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And then put my headphones back in, and that was it.
You told me how to do a landmine school.
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, then like I said, you know, what a bookend for our friendship, because like now you're leaving, and it was this Monday, I think, actually. So
Monday.
3 days ago, you and I got together again and like read fucking poetry, dude, and fucking we were fucking crying to each other again, and it was just like, dude, like. It's so funny, because I so heavily stick to the don't train your friends, don't mix like, you know, friendship and money, yada yada, and this was such a like bi-directional beneficial friendship and client trainee relationship. You know,
so I think we both really respect one another, and going into the more client trainer relationship, I never wanted to take advantage of you because you were my friend. Yeah. And so, but not every friend has that understanding. Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's good to have your guard up, but we just had that very beautiful like storybook of and we did it right. Like I had so much fun with you in the gym, and like,
I don't know what the wrong way is to train your friend, but like we definitely didn't do it. So like that's all I know is like, I'm sorry, I'm kicking the mic right now. Like I had, and this was like a free person that I was working. He was, you know, my best friend since we were like 5 years old or something like that, and I had no idea what I was doing. I don't even think I was certified at the time, and I'm like trying to train him, and I'm just like, you gotta fucking work harder, and like for some reason, you know, kidding of course, for some reason, he ended up like quitting after like a week, and it's just like, what were some of the unexpected challenges that came up along the way?
Just lifting weights.
Yeah?
No, really, like getting to the gym. Because there were definitely days where I was like, Andrew, or like I would just oversleep, and not on purpose, but purposely, subconsciously.
On some level you're like, oh no, I'm so tired.
Yeah, but like getting past the mentality of getting my ass into the gym. Because like once I was in here, it was fine. But like getting here and being with you and like doing the program, and I would always psych myself out of like, fuck, I'm about to get my ass kicked tomorrow, and then I'm gonna be sore. And like getting out of bed being like, no, it's fine, like this is something that you want, and it's like it's a good thing to like come to the gym and be sore and like really push yourself. And so like the mental aspect of it I would have never imagined, like of showing up and being here,
creating that mental fortitude of like, okay, it's time to get up, okay, I need to eat, okay, I gotta go to the gym,
and like eating before I got here, there was quite a few times I didn't eat before I came here, but
so crazy. Do you feel like there were any successes that you've had in your life now that you wouldn't have been able to have had you not actually gotten into the gym and developed a healthier lifestyle and all that stuff?
That moving.
Yeah. Like, really? Yeah. How do you feel like that carried over?
Because with the gym and really getting to know my body, I put more control into myself and became more present day to day. And if I wasn't present day to day, then the move would have never happened. There was a lot of challenges with the move, with my family, the house. I was born and raised here, and I lost my dad here. You know, I've had my first heartbreak in Reno. I've had lots of loves and broken friendships and like a lot of good memories too. And so like really separating myself from that, if I didn't have like the mental strength behind it, then the move would have never happened. I probably would have never left Reno.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Which is insane to say because I've always wanted to leave Reno. I just never knew how.
Yeah, I get you. I always tell people the gym's gonna impact your life in a bunch of different ways that you never really expect, but it's never even like a direct thing. Like obviously there's like the direct things of like, oh, you're going to, you know, be able to attract quote better people into your life because you will be healthier and you will be stronger and you'll be taking care of yourself, and like attracts like, and there's obvious stuff like that, but then there's like weird shit too where it's like, okay, I feel more confident, I'm ready to like leave,
the confidence was insane. I was like, well, if I'm confident enough to go to the gym here, then I can go to the gym anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's huge.
Yeah, it's so weird the way it like carries over.
Yeah, because there was like even like there were times where I would like drive to a store that I've never been into, and I would sit in that parking lot, and sometimes I wouldn't go in.
Really?
Because I was it's just a store. Like no one's there to judge me. No one knows I'm coming. Like, and like sometimes I would never go into that store, and I would just turn around and leave. Like it was just the weirdest thing. So like the confidence that came with the gym and like being in the gym just carried over in different ways than I never expected to.
It's so funny to hear that because it's, probably for anybody watching, like they're gonna look at you and be like, this girl's wearing, what is that top called? What is that, like a bandeau or a fucking tube top or something?
Jason calls it a Tarzan top.
Alright, so they're like, this girl's wearing a Tarzan top, she posted nudes on Twitter. How the fuck is this girl not confident enough to walk into a store? But it's like, it really is one of those things where I remember your way of showing up was very almost like fake it till you make it,
Oh,
like,
well, that's been my motto my entire life.
And now it's like it's just kind of who you are, like it's not a fake it till you make it thing anymore. It's like Sydney is actually that confident. Sydney does actually feel that good about herself. Sydney like really loves herself in this way, and like that makes me so fucking happy, just because like yes, the gym and all the people that I work with, it's like, you want to see the physical change, you want people to get the results and everything, but like I think the thing in my bio is building proud minds and proud bodies, and it's like that is really what I want for everybody that I work with through this, is like are you gonna get physical changes? Cool. But who gives a fuck about that? Like if
you're not happy with yourself, like as a person, no matter what you do to your body, you're not going to be happy with it. And I think that's one of the reasons I haven't been so hard on myself over the past few months with, like, going to the gym. And I haven't lost a lot of gains, but, like, I look much different than when I was working out all the time. But, like, this is the happiest I've ever been. And I'm like, the physical parts will come when I commit myself to them. Like, I know that they do. I know I'm capable of. But right now I'm happy and I'm focused on something. So, like, get down to San Diego, do your thing, and then get back in the gym. And, like, it'll turn around in 6 months. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
You know that it's a pause. It's not a stop.
Exactly.
And again, that's something that happens. You know, I mean, it's what happened to me probably 7 months ago or something like that. You know, it was like this sudden pause on me, like, trying to build muscle and gain weight and all this stuff, where I'm like, fuck, I have other things that I need to focus on. I need to heal my gut. I need to focus on my business. I need to blah, 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 and, like, all these different things. And then it's like, gut's good, business is good, let's fucking go. And, you know, I'm up almost 10 pounds now from, you know, nearly 3 months ago now. And it's like, that's something, too, that I think a lot of people need to learn to kind of forgive themselves for, is like, hey, you're going to have the ups and downs. It's as long as you're still moving overall in a positive direction, like, it doesn't really matter. Just as long
people
as
attach too much emotion to their, like, physical. Yeah. And I mean, I see it every day in a lot of people. Like, if they don't go to the gym every single day, they are beating themselves up. And I'm like, why? Like, some days, like, I wake up and I know I need to rest, and so I'm like, well, I'm gonna sleep in an extra hour instead of, like, go beat myself up. Because if you're not in the mood to do it, like, yes, there's, like, that thin line of, like, the back of your head talking to you of, like, oh, I don't want to go to the gym, and then your body actually telling you, like, hey, no, like, we need to not. Lost my train of thought there.
Damn it. It felt like a complete thought.
Yeah.
My buddy Nathan told me, and this was, what are we right now? Oh my God, we're in October. 8 months ago, my buddy Nathan was talking to me about it, and he is probably going to go to the Olympics. Really, really talented Olympic lifter. And he was talking to me about it, and he's like, look, dude, like, you got to handle your fucking gut. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't want to lose all this weight.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you more attached to your physique than you are to your overall health? And I'm like, fuck.
The physique you can get back. Obviously, you did it very quickly. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess just to kind of wrap this up, you've mentioned a lot of things, but I'm sure one of the I want something else. So think deep into this. What are you proud of yourself for?
Of who I'm becoming. It's an ongoing process, and how I've learned not to attach myself to a single moment. Like, I'm not who I was 5 minutes ago, and I'm not going to be like, it's okay for me to forever be evolving. And if you would have asked me that 5 years ago, I would have been fixated on myself, who I would be 5 years from then. If that makes sense. It's just, I'm the type of person who's always thinking 5 steps ahead, and I'm not ever being present in myself. And so to really slow down and be like, hey, like, this is it. This is all you've got, and this moment is now. Like, now and gone. Yeah. Is one of the things I'm most proud of, because
you really never know what's coming out. In fact, like, we could walk out of this gym and die, you know? I mean,
knock on wood. But I've been on autopilot for so long, it feels like just stuck in a daydream and letting my body do its own thing, and finally to, like, hey, no, I want to be involved in this, in today. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, everybody's heard this quote in some version or another, but, like, attachment's the root of all suffering, and it's true, you know, like, even now, like, thinking about the things, thinking about the things in my past that I didn't want to let go of, and then when I finally did, like, look at how much better life actually got, and then, you know, thinking about life now, all the things that I don't want to let go of, or, like, this idea that I have of, like, myself and who I am, like, when you finally let go of attachments, like, life gets better, despite how fucking hard it is.
It's really hard, yeah.
And that's also part of the lesson mixed into that, is, like, you know, the struggle is the lesson.
Basically. Oh, totally.
Fucked up the way that goes. And what's even more fucked up too is like the universe will keep giving you that fucking lesson until it finally sticks. Like,
that's the whole point.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Oh shit, you're gonna fuck the same thing up all over again, buddy. Like, here it goes again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then final little bit here. I'm never really sure how to ask this question. I kind of word it in a different way every time, but it's essentially just, what is something that is very in your head right now? Something that you have been spending a lot of time thinking or reading or studying or learning about lately that you haven't really had a chance to like share and give back to the world? What is something that you've just been caught up in lately?
I feel like I've been talking about it this whole podcast, but just the whole thing of being present. Like, I didn't realize how like out of my own body I was.
Where did that start for you? Like, when did it become a thing for you where you were like, I'm not, present?
I think when Frank and I started our relationship, it was just like, very like happy go giddy, but then all of his shit happened. He got sick, he broke both of his hands, and all of a sudden I needed to be here for this person who was in pain and who is in pain every day. Like, one of the things that will bring you so present is like physical pain. And so I couldn't, obviously I don't feel his physical pain, but I was like, I need to be present with this person. And that's where like the whole moving thing, like the snowball started to roll downhill. Was okay, I want to be with this person, but this is also like a thing of my growth, and in order for me to make all these things happen, I have to like be here every day and like do the things that I need to do to make it happen long term. And so being present's really hard. Even this morning I woke up a little bit too late and was like, no, might as well just stay in bed all day, but instead it was like, no, Sydney, you were literally moving tomorrow. Like, get your ass up, you have shit to do.
Enjoy your fucking day,
like you have your people to see that you're not going to see for a while. And
it's so crazy, man. This is a funny little side note, but I remember I'm actually reading The Power of Now right now, by the way. Like, for the first time in like 4 or 5 years or something, like I'm rereading this book again, and it's like, oh man, I remember reading this in Lighthouse. And I remember reading this book and being like, oh my God. And like, that was probably my first, and I started noticing it again, probably like 4 months ago or something. I was like, I am not here with myself.
And when you're not here with yourself, you're not here with other people.
Yeah.
And like, if you truly value your relationships with other people, whether they're romantic or platonic, like, they deserve you there 100%.
Yeah.
They deserve you putting your fucking phone down and like having a conversation like
That's
this.
Such a fucking big
it's
especially
like,
for our generation.
Don't just do it for yourself, do it for the people that you love.
Do it for everybody, man.
Because like I said, we never know when that last day is here.
Yeah. It's so fucking crazy, dude. Well, damn, Sid. You got anything else for us? Anything else you want to share?
Nope, I'm just gonna cry now.
All right. Dude. We're definitely gonna give each other some love after this. If people want to find you, if they want to like keep up with you or whatever, what's your at? Where do they find you?
It's just happiness with 2 X's at the end, and the E's a 3.
Alright, so happiness, but the E is a 3, and then there are 2 X's at the end.
Yeah. People think it's happy sex.
Yeah, I did for a long time too.
Yeah. So.
or happiness sex.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too active on social media, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, I get you.
You can always hit my DMs if you need to.
Glenn, anything we didn't talk about enough?
Oh gosh, you touched and you got my heart.
You got your heart? Fuck yeah.
Because I'm thinking this exact same thing about what you're saying about being present. So
yeah.
I think that was really awesome. So and you just never know. So you got it.
No, yay.
One final little bit to the staying present, because I found a weird little thing, and this is usually what most people talk about, is like to get present again, like find a sensation, and that's gonna like bring you back. And I mornings, I think for most people, it's either early in the morning or late at night. Like when people are alone, that's like when it's hardest for them.
Yeah.
Because then you have all this time to
just like
like think, basically.
Drift.
Excuse me. And what I started doing was every morning now.
Cold showers?
A cold shower's forever, but it's really funny because when I take cold showers, God, I think we've tried ending this podcast like 5 times. But when I do the cold showers, I always just like super rapid breathing through my nose, really intense, and I will literally have these moments where I will say it to myself, or I will think it in my head, and I'll just be like, fuck you, you fucking pussy. You think a cold shower's fucking hard? How are you gonna get through the rest of your fucking day then? And then it's
true.
And then it's like, you're right. This is easy.
It is.
And it just, everything gets better. But the thing that I started doing was like every morning now I have a cup of tea a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and I will just feel the warmth of it in my hand, and I'll just have that moment when I start finding myself like future tripping or like sitting in the past or something, and I'll just go, what are you feeling? And it's like I feel the warmth in my left hand.
Focus on the tea.
Yeah. And that's all it is,
Focus on the tea in your breath, baby.
Exactly. Alrighty. Sydney, I love you so much.
I love you too.
I fucking miss you.
I miss you too.
So, until next time, guys, my name's Andrew. This is
I'm
Sydney.
Sydney.
And we'll see y'all later.